It's not the end of the world either. And Nick Pearce also has, or Nick Pearce and Noah Sawyer, they both have very unique decks that you don't really think about when you're trying to, to figure out this metagame for this event, as they're now going to be very well represented throughout the weekend.
Yeah, these are two decks that I think of as the answers to Gardevoir. Right. You want to be able to do huge amounts of damage. And both of these decks are able to do it at a very rapid pace. The problem is that they're glass cannons. The fact that you can do so much damage by throwing away all of these amazing Pokemon in your deck, it's going to hurt you. And the same way, Nicholas has to really commit, go all in, and play a lot of Pokemon on his bench, which leaves him vulnerable.
Yeah, now Noah is playing the Vespa deck, and you see right away how he played Acrobike, and he has, it's kind of a trainer-based, like an item-based engine for him to get these Pokemon into his discard pile. Since you don't have cards like Battle Compressor, the deck definitely needed to change its style up, and it found a good way to do so, but now the problem becomes, can you do this consistently enough? And if you can, is it going to be fast enough?
Yeah, one like unspoken rule when you're playing in this matchup is you try to avoid playing down EX or GX Pokemon if you're on the Vespiquen side, because you want to make sure that it's a 2-for-1 every time that you're taking a knockout. You take a big knockout on a Mega Rayquaza, and they return knockout of Vespiquen. You took 2 prizes, they only took 1. So it ends up being advantageous for you. But if Rayquaza can get in a spot where they can just start Lysander or Guzming your Shaymins and Tapu Leles, then you immediately lose that big advantage that you had.
Right away, we see a Skylar here for Nick. Now, Nick does have the Mega Rayquaza, but the thing about Mega Rayquaza is that it's not exactly a fast attacker. It's one of those things where you actually have to commit quite a few resources to getting it into play, which means that getting multiples into play becomes exceedingly harder. Like, the first one is not difficult to pull off. The second one is a little bit more difficult. And then the third one, that's when you really start to struggle if you're the Mega Rayquaza deck. And that's what I expect to see here out of Nick. He may have an early start, but the problem is if the best Vespiquen player can get the resources it needs in the discard pile, then all of a sudden Nick is going to really struggle to get his last couple of prizes.
Yeah, we see Nicholas. He was able to start off with the Skyla here. That's going to be able to get him Hoopa, which gets him more Pokemon. He can get some Shaymins and be able to continue this draw. When you see Skyla, you think that's not going to get him very far. It's just 1 card. But the chain reaction has already started to occur. He has a Metal Energy in the discard. That means that eventually he's going to have access to Mega Turbo. Because he's thinned out his hand a little bit with the Ultra Ball, that means that these Shaymins can start to draw him some cards. So everything is starting to come into place. It really just depends on if he's able to find that Spirit Link for his Rayquaza. He already has double colorless energy, so things can really start moving just because of that 1 card.
Yeah, I really like seeing the Hoopa here. I think that the Hoopa is one of the few, this is one of the few remaining decks where Hoopa is actually at its best. And when Hoopa's at its best, it's a very powerful Pokemon because its Scoundrel Ring is just powerful. It's so incredible how fast it can get your deck going. Especially, I mean, we see here how it found him a couple of Rayquazas and I believe a Shaymin.
Yep. Now, gonna go ahead and just use that Field Blower. It's not gonna do very much for him in this matchup. Gotta get rid of that 1 extra card. Hopefully, can find some cards like a Spirit Link, and there it is.
Yeah, that Spirit Link, very crucial here as it's one of the big keys of the puzzle for a very fast Mega Rayquaza start. And sure enough, look at that, the Mega Turbo as well. That's a turn 1 Mega Rayquaza which can start attacking here for Nick Pearce.
Yeah, I think that Nick might have heard you through his headset when you said that it was going to be a slower game, because he said, I'll take a turn 1 knockout on your Combi with a double colorless.
Yeah, no kidding. This kind of a start is not very likely for Nick's deck, but still, when it happens, you definitely take it.
Yeah, now Noah, he knows that there's no way that he's going to be able to take a 220-point knockout on this Mega Rayquaza. So being able to use Sky Return, get the Shaymin off of the field, avoiding that 2-for-1 prize exchange like I was talking about earlier, that's definitely going to benefit him. And now he just needs to start finding some basic Pokemon to get onto the bench. Definitely looking for some Combis here.
Yeah, and I mean, keep in mind, he still has to get a lot of Pokemon into the discard pile as well. So it's not an easy job for Noah here to set up. And the fact that he's being pressured as early as turn 1 from his opponent, that really puts a very fast clock on Noah to get the resources he needs. And it seems like he's doing fine so far, but It's not over yet.
Oh, Noah even has Parallel City in his hand. It's usually a card that you use against yourself, trying to get rid of some damaged Pokemon or those Pokemon EX and GX, and also add to the pile that your Vespiquen has, get a big attack off. But instead, he's going to use it against his opponent, limit that his opponent down to 3, and hopefully Nicholas isn't able to find one of those Sky Fields. We know that 2 are already prized.
Now, Noah is finding what he needs kind of for now. Like, he is very comfortable taking just a very slow turn. Like, he'll promote the Mewtwo, which is a non-EX Pokemon, and he's okay giving his opponent another prize as long as his opponent doesn't get too far ahead, because from this point on he'll be giving up non-EX and GX prizes for the most part. And if he can do that, then he'll be able to start coming back just based on the fact that his attackers are not non-EXs and GXs and Nick's are. Yeah. But he only has so much time to do this.
Nicholas drew a very, very poor hand off of what he had there. He's just sitting with double colorless energy, some float stones, and a Mega Turbo. He's not even he's not able to counter Stadium and play one more Pokemon down to knock out the Mewtwo. He just has to use Sky Return and hope that he can draw some cards with the Shaman's ability in the next coming turn. But he had a big spot there. If he had a Guzma, he would have been able to remove that Combi, and then it would be very difficult for Noah to be able to take a knockout this turn.
All right, let's see here. Now, Sycamore is going to discard a lot of resources here for Noah, but that's a lot of Pokemon too.
Yeah, we did see one special charge already used, and he's going to lose this double colorless right here. So Noah might be limited in the amount of attacks he's able to pull off this game. If this Combi doesn't evolve into Vespiquen, of course we see 2 Vespiquen off the Acrobike. Now that it's a Vespiquen, though, it needs to take an attack, a knockout that's going to do enough to impact the game, because he needs 3 double colorless energies to take 3 EX or GX knockouts.
I want to start counting the number of Pokemon in the discard pile. It was a little bit too fast for me, but hopefully we get a die on the table that can start representing the amount of Pokemon that are in the discard pile, because it's so important for us to keep track of that, and for obviously Nick and Noah both to keep track of that. Oh, and a Guzma, your boy, coming in at the right time here for Nick, as he is going to be able to target down this Combi. And that's huge, as that's going to be the only attacker that Noah has available to him.
Oh, and if I was able to pick my cards off of that Shaman, it would definitely, one would be the Sky Field, which he drew into, but he also has a Trainer's Mail, which might be able to get him a little extra, like an Ultra Ball there. That's going to be able to continue to draw him some more cards with potential Shamans in the future if he so chooses. But he doesn't have to go in right now. He might be able to hold on to them. Yeah, Noah says, there's no way I can come back from this. You've already knocked out 2 of my Combis, and I've lost a few double colorless. I can't compete with that big Mega Rayquaza. That's game 1.
I like that decision by Noah. He saw that because the turn 1 Rayquaza is just so powerful and so fast. Unless Noah can just have almost a miraculous turn 2 to where he comes back and he knocks out the Mega Rayquaza, he's just going to be too far behind, because then all of a sudden Nick's third turn, or Nick's second turn actually, is going to involve him powering up a second Mega Rayquaza on the bench. And the moment that he starts doing that, it's just too hard for you to come back. There's nothing you can do. You barely can knock out the first one, and then you're just not going to have enough attackers. Nick is just targeting these Combis down, as he rightfully should. And sure enough, Nick is up 1-0 against Noah Sawyer, as both of these players are competing to get to 3-0 at this day 1 of competition of the World Championships in the Pokemon trading card game.
Very interesting the way that game played out. From speaking to a lot of prestigious Vespiquen and Rayquaza players, with Rahul Reddy as our Vespiquen expert and Jose Moreira always talking about Mega Rayquaza, the way that this matchup plays out, the Vespiquen players have been even taking out Combi, the Klefki, because they don't need to have the Klefki to protect them from the Megas anymore. They just think that they can get enough damage and take a big knockout with choice bands now that they just run through the Mega Rayquazas. But Nicholas saying, you might need those Klefkis, because I'm fast enough, and if you don't keep up with me, I'm going to win quick games.
The problem is, can he really keep up that kind of a speed? I mean, granted, his deck does play, quite a few copies of like things like Mega Turbo and stuff like that. So he is better. He is built a little bit better for consistency when it comes to speed than a lot of Mega Rayquaza decks. But a turn 1 Mega Rayquaza just, it's, oh man, it's powerful when it happens, but you can't count on it happening every turn.
Yep. We see the Parallel City is going to be in the prize cards over for Noah. It's able to help him in a little bit, but in the end, Vespiquen does only have 90 hit points. You don't have to.
Nick has 1 double colorless energy, a Mega Turbo, and a Rayquaza EX there, as well as a Guzma actually. So these are all very powerful cards individually, even Skyfield. They're all individually powerful cards, but the fact that you only have 1 of them makes it a little bit easier for you to handle.
Yep. Well, we are underway in this game 2 here. We get to see Nicholas starting off with the Tapu Koko, probably one of his best starters for himself. That free retreat is generally the reason why you play that.
I think that Zoroark is actually really nice too, by the way, as that's one of the ways that you can really compete against Mega Rayquaza, just based on the fact that Mind Jack can, or Zoroark I should say.
Yeah.
Mind Jack can just deal unprecedented amounts of damage.
Yeah, now that's going to be in the back of Nicholas's mind. He's got to think about how many Pokemon should I play down when I'm getting this big setup that I generally do. If I can limit it to maybe 3 or 4, then I'm probably going to be in a better spot than if I let Mind Jack just rip right into my Mega Rayquaza.
Unknown goes to the discard pile as it rightfully should in order to earn Noah another card here. This deck here by Noah is just meant to blaze through the deck as fast as possible, but sometimes you just need to get too many Pokemon in the discard pile, and it's just difficult to do. I mean, the first few Pokemon are easy, right? It's when you get to those 200 plus damage that you really start to struggle as the Vespiquen player.
Yeah, looking at what Noah's got for himself there, he's thinking about getting the Zoroark, but I think you should wait on that. Yeah, he wouldn't be able to evolve it this turn, and it might not have played out very well. So yeah, rightfully so, going to go for the Zorua instead.
Yep, much preferred on the Zorua, and sure enough, it comes into the bench. So that's now 2 Combies and 2 Zoruas on the bench with a with the Oranguru in the active spot. As Oranguru being the active Pokemon, by the way, we don't give that enough credit for being very poor for Noah.
Yep. Now Nicholas trying to see if he can get one of those big starts like he was able to last time. The Metal Energy is key. It doesn't look like a very big piece, but being able to get that in the discard pile is huge. Generally, these decks only play 3 or 4 basic energy cards that they're trying to get to use that Mega Turbo.
Yeah, and the Mallow being in the discard pile is also never a bad thing.
Yeah, being able to combine Mallow with cards like Shaman EX, cards that he's going to be able to grab with his Hoopa, is definitely going to be beneficial to him if we see.
He plays Unknown, by the way, and Oranguru.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that you can draw exactly the card you need. Last time we saw Nicholas in the opening game, he was able to draw into it just straight off the top. It worked out for him, but there's ways that you can manipulate it and just make sure that you have it every single time.
Indeed. Now, I mean,
I'm gonna go back in. So
obviously Nick is hoping for the very powerful start, just like he had in the previous game. But let's assume that he gets like a turn 2 Mega Rayquaza. Is that too slow going up against Noah's turn 1?
Yeah, looking at this board, I would be a little more scared than I was of the last game. But it's definitely, it's not the end of the world. You still need to see all these Pokemon go into the discard pile for Noah to really provide a big threat. So a turn 2 might be a little slow, but obviously Nicholas is going to be rearing for that big turn 1.
All right, so, I mean, Nicholas's start is obviously not ideal, but still that Hoopa, very powerful.
Yeah, I think he's actually in a pretty good spot here. He got himself the Mega Rayquaza and the regular Rayquaza and a Shaman. The Mallow is likely going to be getting that Spirit Link if it's not already in his hand. It is, so that means
actually, yeah, you're
that
right.
he's definitely going to get a big knockout here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The Shaman getting him the extra cards from the Mallow is very crucial here, as all he's going to need is that double colorless energy, which of course he put on the top of the deck with the Mallow and the Mega Turbo as well. So even though he didn't have any energies in his hand, the fact that he got to get him with the Mallow and then draw them with the Shaman was crucial for him. And now it seems like he's making me eat my words, as now he's gotten 2 turn 1 Mega Rayquazas.
Yeah, he's letting you know that Mega Rayquaza is definitely not done yet. It's trying to get that one big last hurrah in the standard format, and Nicholas once again taking a big knockout early on the opening turn.
One last ride here for that Mega Rayquaza deck. Will it have, well, there's a Skyfield allows the Shaman to actually draw the maximum amount of 6 cards, by the way. but will it have what it takes to earn one last championship victory at the grandest stage that we have in this Pokemon game?
Yeah, looking at Nicholas's face, he kind of had a little bit of a grin on, saying, "Oh, you get to use my Skyfield too." that worked out pretty well for you, as he did get himself on that 6 bench Pokemon, which got him a lot going on.
All right, Noah still on his own turn again. He's facing down a very powerful start here from Nick, and again he's going to be using his Sky Return as his attack, putting enough damage onto the Mega Rayquaza to where it starts to actually fear getting knocked out on the following turn. So at this point, it's going to be on Nick to start getting additional Mega Rayquazas for the following turns. But he seems well positioned to do so.
Yeah, Noah wisely, when Grat used his Giratina, it's a card that he has in this deck for playing against Greninja, but he can just promote this right now, and hopefully it will take one of the hits that was meant to go for one of these Zorua or Vespiquen. Now he can let this Pokemon fall into the discard pile, and maybe he'll be able to get to that exact point knockout that he needs to with Be Revenge.
Which tool is on the Mega Rayquaza again? Is it a Float Zone? Oh no, it's the Spirit Link, yeah. So it seems like he's going to need one more Pokemon to put onto his bench.
Oh, no, not playing him.
Yep. Nicholas saying that he's going to grab the Field Blower, but not play it just yet. This means that Noah would be losing a few Pokemon just because he did overextend his board with the Skyfield, but this kind of works out for Noah. He wants to get these Pokemon in the discard pile, and he knows that this is one way to do it.
By the way, this math is going to work out really perfectly for Noah, as if Nick does play down that 5th bench Pokemon, which it seems like he is, and even now a 6th, then all of a sudden the Zoroark is going to be able to deal enough damage to knock out the Rayquaza EX. So Nick kind of realized that, and he said, well, there's no real difference between 5 and 6 Pokemon, so I might as well play down the 6th Pokemon and play the Shaman and draw additional cards. But that is going to be how Noah's going to be able to come back here, as once he plays a Zoroark down as well as a Double Colorless, the Mind Jack will be able to knock out this Mega Rayquaza.
Yeah, he would have some creative lines to get his bench down using getting rid of the Skyfield with the Field Blower. He could also put the Unknown away, but then he wouldn't have enough damage to knock out the Giratina. So a little bit of an awkward spot for Nick, but he's in a pretty good spot with the way that the prize cards and the opening game, the turn has worked out for him. So we'll see if this advantage that he has right now is going to be enough.
Right, there is a bit of an opening for Noah, but absolutely Nick is doing what he can to secure his own future with his Mega Rayquazas. He wants to find another Spirit Link.
We're also talking about a Zoroark that hasn't even hit the board yet and is going to need a Double Colorless. We know that Vespiquen is very good at finding the cards that it needs just because of the way they built their trainer line, but he doesn't have them right now, so Nicholas might just take the risks. Oh, no, he's thinking about it.
Okay, and Nicholas does indeed play our discard is unknown.
Yeah, he does have an extra Pokemon to play down so that he will be able to continue the knockout, but yeah, it could be scary.
That is a knockout. Down goes the
now.
Giratina, so that's another prize for Nick. But again, at this point, the window is open for Noah to take this return knockout. Sure enough, he plays the Zoroark. Does he have the Double Colorless Energy?
Yeah.
Not yet. It's a Versus Seeker first. Looks like teammates will be able to find him any 2 cards he wants, so absolutely he'll be able to find a Double Colorless Energy. Sure enough, that's the first card he shuffles to the top of the deck, or the bottom, I guess. And yeah, this is going to be very important here for Noah, as now it's again on Nick in order to get a return knockout. If he doesn't, he's going to fall too far behind. He has too many EXs and GXs in his deck. And that's just, that's an issue. That's a really big issue when your opponent's attacking you with non-EX Pokemon.
That's right. The way that Nicholas's deck works is he has such high hit points and goes in so aggressively that generally the GX part and GXs and EXs that you have giving up those the 2 prize cards rather than 1, he can just get a big lead and then that won't be a big problem. But
big time knockout here by Noah, by the way, as Noah does go down to 4 prizes and Nick still has 4 prizes remaining, but with 1 less with 0 Mega Rayquazas in play now, as that Mega Rayquaza did go down to that Zoroark's Mind Jack.
Yeah, Nicholas now has to kind of regroup here. If he's able to disrupt Noah, that would be nice. But honestly, the Rayquaza decks they don't play very much N, and that means that you're not going to mess with Noah's hand.
Ultra Ball here from Nick. He's going to need to find himself additional attackers. I feel kind of silly stating the obvious, but it's absolutely true. This is a priority for this deck, and that's where it kind of struggles.
Yeah, after the big turns that Nicholas had, being able to take those 2 big knockouts early, now we're just looking at the way that this matchup kind of plays out. The fact that the 2-for-1 exchange is going to continue to happen, it just puts Noah in a fantastic spot. I'd like to know how many Pokemon are in his discard pile, because then we could kind of get a better read on if Vespiquen is going to start to get into range with this Zoroark potentially falling, along with the unknowns that are on his bench.
So a double color synergy becomes, it gets attached to the Rayquaza EX. So that's 2 double color synergies on it now. Skyfield just kind of comes out of the hand in order for him to draw additional cards with the Shaman EX. Still needs a Spirit Link, still needs a Mega Rayquaza. Finds the Spirit Link. Does he find the Mega Rayquaza? He does. That's a big time setup here by the Shaman. And a Hex Maniac. The Hex Maniac is going to stop these unknowns from being able to do what they're meant to do.
Yeah, definitely a big turn here for Nicholas. He was able to take the return knockout, get all of his cards back, and stop everything that Noah's going to potentially do to get a return knockout. When Noah used the teammates, he did grab a VS Seeker, hoping that he could potentially just continue to grab teammates. But now he's in a spot where he might have to use a card like Lysander or Guzma to take another Pokemon off the field, like the Shaman EX, because I don't know if he has enough Pokemon in his discard pile.
That play by Noah right now was very nice, as he benched the Shaman, even though he knew it was Hex Maniac, in order for him to play the Parallel City and get rid of both the Shaman and one of the unknowns. Doesn't get the effects out of these cards, but that's not the end of the world. What's most important right now is just being able to get big knockouts here, and because he has a way to promote this Shaman here, he's going to be able to knock it out with enough damage through Bee Revenge, and that's going to be Noah going down to 2 prizes now, as Nick still has 4 remaining.
Yeah, this is a fantastic spot for Noah. He was able to use Guzma in a turn where he was Hex Maniac, because he wasn't going to be able to get a big knockout like 220 hit points on a Mega Rayquaza. He needed to focus on something else, like one of those lower hit point Shamans. And he was able to do that this turn. And that means that more Pokemon going to the discard as the game progresses later, and he might be able to just take that last knockout on a Mega Rayquaza.
Yeah, I have to assume that Bee Revenge is going to be dealing 110 damage right now. I think that's the number that I'm going to go with as the base point, and hopefully we can try to keep track of how much damage it'll be dealing in the future, as, again, it's very difficult for it to get one-hit knockouts on the Mega Rayquaza.
Yeah, definitely enough to knock out a Shaman, I'd say. Well, we see Nicholas using Tapu Lele, a card that doesn't get played too often in the Mega Rayquaza deck. I mean, of course, as a one-of, yes, but it's not a main focal point. Generally, you're getting all of your cards with the Shaman. But Tapu Lele was able to grab him these situational cards, like the Mallows and the Hex Maniacs. This turn, of course, he's going to focus on that Hex Maniac once more, try to make sure that Noah cannot hit these big numbers like 220.
So if he has a Lysander or a Guzma and a double color synergy, the game is over. The problem is that that's easier said than done. All right, brings the double color synergies back into his deck at least. Makes it a little bit easier to find these.
Yeah, if he had Guzma and double colors, he wouldn't have promoted Vespiquen. It looks like he's just going to use this Ultra Ball here, get rid of the rest of his hand, and just grab a Combi. But I don't think he's got very much afterwards. He might have to rely on Unknown to get him some cards.
Sounds right to me.
Oh, he's got some cards left in his hand, so I just don't know what he's got.
When there's a will, there's a way, and looks like he does have some sort of chance before he farewell letters, or it looks like he's...
Yeah, he can't because of the Hex Maniac.
Yeah, that's true. He has been Hex Maniac for a second consecutive turn, so he's forced to just promote the Unknown, hope it gets knocked out the old-fashioned way.
And Nicholas now knows how big that Hex Maniac was. He's going to look to use that one more time and just continue to do the same plays he's been doing here.
There are no EX Pokemon on Noah's side of the field, so Nick will not be able to win the game on this turn. But Nick's still trying to secure his future.
Yep, it looks like Nicholas is going to be able to get himself a Shaman or a Tapu Lele. Just depends on whatever is going to draw him into either a third Hex Maniac or another VS Seeker. He's going to look to continue that chain and stop Noah from getting to draw any cards.
Yeah, I mean, he plays plenty of them, so this is definitely a strategy that he likes to go with in multiple matchups, I'm sure. And it seems like he's finding a Shaman. He believes that's probably the best route he can take. I don't blame him. Doesn't look like he's going to need any additional attackers or anything like that. So at this point, it's all about just, well, he's definitely not going to need any additional attackers. But at this point, it's all about just finding that Hex Maniac and hoping it sticks and does enough damage to Noah so that he can win this second game and end this match.
Now, Nicholas does have an energy that he can attach. Deciding on whether it's going to go on Coco or Shaman, it's a little bit irrelevant here, but choosing to go on the Coco, and now he's going to start looking for that VS Seeker.
All right, 5 cards drawn here.
I think I saw it.
5 cards drawn here. Did he find the Versus Seeker?
Okay, let's go, please. Yeah.
Just going to take a look just to see how many Pokemon are truly in that discard pile. He wants to know that maybe this unknown was going to be the last piece, and don't want to play right into a double colorless.
Big time turn here for Nick. Will he be able to land another Hex Maniac? And if he does, will Noah be able to draw out of it? Seems likely on the first part. I believe I see the Versus Seeker. Sure enough, there it is. VS Seeker. Will he find the Hex Maniac? It is the card he chooses to get. And Hex Maniac is played, and then a knockout onto the unknown. And again, the best win is the Pokemon that gets promoted.
Yep, and now Noah just needs to find something. He's got an Ultra Ball, which can get him one more Pokemon into the discard pile, but he has no more abilities. So generally, being able to find a Shaman or a Tapu Lele, that's not going to provide him any use here. But he does have Sycamore in his hand.
Does he have a way to at least slow the... Okay, so Sycamore, what's it got to find? You can't Guzma anymore.
Yeah, just he'd have to find... It depends on how many Pokemon are in the discard pile, but Acrobikes and cards like that would be able to provide more Pokemon to the discard pile. But yeah, he didn't find very much there, not even a double colorless energy. So
I mean, if you can parallel City and slow your opponent down that way, no, it looks like he doesn't have anything. And Noah Sawyer is forced to extend the hand as Nicholas Pearce takes this match 2-0 and advances to 3-0 in this day 1 of competition at the Pokemon Trading Card Game World Championships. 1 win away here for Nick, and Noah still has 2 wins to go with only 1 loss to give.